What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Neeks Sports. We've got a big show where we're talking about a lot of stuff today. I was just planning on doing a Brighton versus Manchester United preview for the Carabao Cup game tomorrow, but the transfer news is flying in thick and fast. Alex Telles, Jadon Sancho, Ousmane Dembele, a few outgoings, Chris Smalling, Dalot, Andreas Pereira, and as the title says, Edinson Cavani has been offered to Manchester United. Yes, guys, Manchester United have submitted an official bid for Alex Telles. That actually went in yesterday. The official bid of around £12 million, which falls below Porto's value of £18 million. I think somewhere in the middle they will reach an agreement, probably around 15 million, and that will get done before the end of the transfer window. Of course, the transfer window closes in less than a week, Monday next week, and so Man United have to act fast. And it seems like from what we're hearing, they are acting fast. Maybe some might put it as a panic, but they're acting quickly to try and get some reinforcements in before the season continues. Of course, we know we've got Spurs on the weekend on Sunday. Whether these transfers come in time for that, we have to wait and see. That'll be another matter. But I think that we may get one before Friday, officially done and dusted before Friday, 1st of October, and two, maybe another before the end of the window. And those two main ones, of course, Alex Telles and Jadon Sancho, those are the big targets. And there was reports last week that Manchester United were due to submit an official bid of around £90 million for Jadon Sancho this week. Jadon Sancho, who has been left out or misses the Borussia Dortmund travelling party to Munich for their Super Cup game, the German Super Cup game. They say he's got a bit of an illness, not coronavirus. He's been tested negative. But of course, that just feeds the rumour mill a bit longer. So that's a couple of the possible incomings to Manchester United. A couple of the outgoings. Andreas Pereira looks set to join Lazio on loan with an option to buy for €27 million. That's about £24.5 million. So that looks pretty much done and dusted. The Lazio president has come out and spoken about it already. And all the top-tier journalists, the likes of Fabrizio, etc., have confirmed that that deal is pretty much official. We're just waiting for Man United's official confirmation of that. There's also further movement on Chris Smalling to Roma. We know that we've been locked in talks with Roma pretty much all summer since he returned back from Syria. And it looks like Roma are getting closer to the valuation Man United have put on him, which is closer to around £20 million. Roma were bidding around the 15 million, maybe even a bit less. And Man United are sticking to their guns, which they have their very right to do. I know we want to get rid of players as quick as possible, but they have the right, as other clubs do, to stick to their guns. When we bid for their players, we have the right to stick to our guns. And on top of that, another Man United player could be going to Serie A. We've had a few now: Lukaku, Sanchez, Ashley Young, Pereira, Smalling, and now Diogo Dalot could be going on loan to AC Milan with an option to buy to be included in that deal if it does transpire. But first, we're going to talk about as the main title says, Edinson Cavani and Luka Jovic have been offered to Manchester United this summer. I'm going to bring in Transfer Tom to give us his views and on what he knows, what he thinks about the deals, whether Man United should be going for either one of those strikers, and of course the other transfer rumours that I've just mentioned. Tom.
Yo, what's going on, man?
I'm good. Cavani to Man United.
Yeah. You heard it right, completely right. You know, Cavani was. It was, I think, I can't remember what day it was. I think it was on near September the 10th or something. It was expected, that was like a deadline. He was expected to sign for Benfica, but the deal fell through due to agent fees, and the agent couldn't agree with the club on the fees that they wanted for him. And he was a free agent from PSG because PSG didn't renew his contract. And now suddenly Edison Cavani has really been the free agent that has been forgotten about. I know obviously such as Chelsea picked up Thiago Silva, which was a good bit of business for somebody who's just got to a Champions League final and been the captain there. Cavani has played in big games and everything, and I think obviously for clubs who are in the market maybe for a striker right now, I don't think Cavani is that bad of an option because you don't have to pay anything to get him. You've just got to pay his wages. But the wage
question, the wages, as well as the agency, the fact that he wants around 10 million euros a year, which is about 170, 180,000 pounds a week. That could be a stumbling block because he's no spring chicken. I think it was a 3-year deal that he wanted with Benfica. Man United, I think they're going to want to go down that route, especially just being relieved of the Alexis Sanchez transfer debacle. You might say. You get another older player on substantial wages. I don't know. Is that one that you think that Man United will do or they should do?
Personally, I can't see it happening due to the fact that Cavani, with the time that's left, that obviously six days left, and Cavani's not that high on the pecking order. I'll be honest with you. He is probably a mid-range target. United came into this summer window and they weren't targeting a striker. And after the games that they've played, the 3 games that they've already played this season, they're not even looking at a striker anyways. So I wouldn't really pay much attention to what's happening with Cavani. Luka Jovic is a bit more, how can I say, a bit more likely due to the fact that it would be a loan and United would be prepared to trial a player, should we say. It would be a trial. You trial him on loan and then you have the option to buy him if you want to, just like what Lazio are going to do with Pereira. They're going to trial him. If they like him, we'll go in and buy him. United would prefer to do that.
Yeah, I think the loan option for Man United, for me, even as a fan, and for Man United, I'm sure financially speaking as well, that is a less risky option. As long as you get the option to buy, because what you don't want is like what Arsenal has with someone like Ceballos, where you're loaning, basically just giving the guy match time and maybe giving him a springboard for his career at a bigger club. And then Real Madrid are like, oh, this guy's actually decent. Let's take him back. You want that option to then make it permanent. But of course, you don't want the obligation that you have to make it permanent because it might not work out for him.
Yeah, it might not work out for him, no. And this is what I'm alluding to is Cavani is going to be would be more of a risk because you're getting him for permanent. You're getting him for so many years, whereas Jovic should be getting him for 12 months.
Yeah.
And then you if you don't like him, you send him back there and then you don't go in for him again. If you like him, then you go and buy him. And you've had a year's worth of him. United did it with such as Falcao.
Yeah.
Tried him out, didn't work. Right, so he didn't work. Right, well, we'll go and have a look at somebody else. Exactly. So in terms of the rumours with that, United obviously, well, I've always stuck with the motto through summer windows and everything where if everything's quiet at a club, it's not. It might be quiet because it's all being tight-lipped. Everything with Donny van der Beek was tight-lipped, and then in the space of 48 hours, he was holding up a Manchester United shirt. And I said probably about a couple of days before any of it even came out, United had contacted Ajax, and things were going in motion and everything, and then it all bombs out in the media. Ruben Diaz has come out of nowhere with Manchester City.
Yeah, so
everything.
Looking at Koulibaly.
Yeah, Koulibaly, and they were looking at Diego Costa and Koundé both from Sevilla, but they wanted so much more money for them. But with United, I think it's just a case of Jadon Sancho is the main target. What you said about Alex Tellers, I gave a bit of an update in our group chat last night where I said United had submitted a £12 million offer. Yeah. Porto wants 18. United are prepared to meet in the middle, and I think Porto will do that because in 6 months' time, European clubs like such as United can get him for free on a free transfer.
Less than 6 months. Remember, we're already at the end of September. It's less than 6 months.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm thinking about it from the
a normal summer. You're thinking a normal summer.
Yeah.
So it's about three.
Well, nothing's normal. Everything can change in a week. Everything can change.
Exactly. So I think the Alex Tellers one is, you might say, is. I think that's the most certain. I'll be very, very surprised if that one fell through because there's no reason for it to fall through. We've agreed personal terms. He wants to come. Porto need the money, and of course, as you said, he's going to be a free agent. Can talk to other clubs in January, and he's a free agent.
Yeah. But it's like that. It's like that with Jovic, though. I wouldn't expect Jovic to come because of what happened with Reguilon. You know, suddenly he was coming to Man United, and then out of the blue, Spurs completely took it over, and Real Madrid didn't give United. They gave United 20 minutes to make a decision, and it was right. You accept our clauses, or you don't get him. United said, right, well, we just want to pull straight out of it, and we'll go after somebody else. Which second in line was Tellez. Third in line is the mysterious name which not a lot of people know about. Nicholas Tagliafico from Ajax is the third name for people that I wanted to know.
Okay.
But just what happened with such as United with Van der Beek, that wouldn't be a hard deal to do because it'd just be plain smoothing like Van der Beek was, and Van der Beek's a bigger deal than Nicholas Tagliafico is. So.
No, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting. Couple day or week, less than a week at Manchester United. There's
Big
a comment there from, and it's first and foremost, everyone that's watching, make sure you smash the like button, share the video, and
100%.
subscribe to the channel. Point here from Man United NE, India. He said, bro, Cavani, no way, we need a centre-back and CDM before signing a striker. So I agree. A centre-back and a right winger, i.e. Jadon Sancho, was Solskjaer's first choice this summer. We're not getting a centre-back. I think we need to forget that. Put that in the bin. We're not getting. Trust me. I know we need a centre-back. We all know we need a centre-back. But Upamecano is one of the main targets, if not the number one. He's just signed a new deal with RB Leipzig, and he has a release clause next summer of about £40 million, I believe it is. If you sign in this year, it'll be around 50 to 60 million. So considering all the centre-backs we've got on our books, whether you think they're good or not, we have to get rid of a few of them. Smalling's likely to go to Roma. Rojo, I don't know what's going on with him. Or he's on the physio table. We need to get rid of him as soon as possible. And then the jury's still out on Bailly and Lindelof. Lindelof because of his ability, and Bailly because of his fitness. And I think before we go and get Upamecano, we're going to have to get rid of about 2 or 3 centre-backs. So I can't see that happening this week. This week, this month, this season. I wish it would, but I think that's been put on the back burner, unfortunately. And I think if we're talking about winning a Premier League title, of course we need a top quality centre back next to Maguire. We're not going to win the Premier League this season anyway. Getting top 4, I think we need to get reinforcements like a Jadon Sancho and Alex Tellez. I think that should be enough to get us back into top 4, providing everyone of course stays fit and plays to the best of their ability, because we've got a quality squad there nonetheless. Let me go back to that comment from Helen Madrid. He says Zizou doesn't really rate Jovic, and yeah, I've realised that. I think he doesn't really rate Jovic. Jovic doesn't really get much game time, and to be fair, when he does play, he doesn't really impress. I think he only got a couple goals in his first season there. He pretty much flopped. But I think what might be issues is the fact that he plays as they kind of play one striker. Obviously, you got support from the wings, etc. But so do we at Man United. Whereas when he was banging in the goals for Eintracht Frankfurt, remember it was him and Haller who's gone to West Ham.
Yep.
A 2-man partnership. So playing from a 2-man partnership and into a lone striker is 2 different things. You need to have, the hold-up play, the link play, and of course the movement then to get the goals. We know he's got the movement to get the goals, but has he got the all-round game to play as a lone striker? I think the jury is still out on that one. I just want to touch on Ousmane Dembele. I know we spoke about him a couple of days ago, around he's joining, and a report has just come out from AS. And I know AS, you can't really trust them, but however, the reports come out saying that Ousmane Dembele is very close to joining Man United, which would give Barcelona the finances to buy Memphis Depay. Barcelona would accept an offer between 50 and 60 million euros for Dembele. So let me ask you, do you think that deal is likely to happen? And if so, is 50 to 60 million a steal for Manchester United?
Well, the price is a steal, 100%. But is he going to come? No. Ousmane Dembele wants to stay at Barcelona. And the reason why that is it's a new manager, it's a new system. He's obviously got rid of a lot of the play, like some of the attacking players. You know, Suarez has gone, for example, so it frees up more mobility and more spaces for him to play, possibly. And he's trying to sort out the fitness and everything. The main problem, Ousmane Dembele could be one of the best players in the world if he was fully fit for a full season to showcase what he can do. And that's when you can have your jury out on players, when they have a full season to show what they can do. No injuries, no nothing. Look at Mane at Liverpool. Doesn't get injured at all I think for probably the past 2 years in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's been thereabouts with being the top scorer and stuff. So the jury's, I wouldn't say Ousmane Dembele is going to, I can't see him leaving. I haven't heard anything about Ousmane Dembele coming to Man United. But I couldn't see him leaving, even if there was rumours of it happening, because the player would have to push for him to move for the move, which I've just reiterated, he wants to stay at Barcelona. So it throws up the curveball of, well, if he did want to move, how much would he be worth? Now, what AS is reporting with the 50 to 60 million euros, take that with a pinch of salt, maybe even a cup of salt. I wouldn't believe that much about that. Barcelona would want close to. Well, they paid over the odds to get him, so they want to try and recoup money back off of it. So they're not, they're making nearly 60 million euros loss there.
Yeah,
that's big. That's big money. I heard about
it's big money for Barcelona, because Barcelona aren't a cash rich club right now. They spent a lot of money on transfers. The likes of Dembele, as you mentioned, the likes of Coutinho, and these transfers haven't worked out. Griezmann being another one, and they're struggling even to strengthen the side in the way that Koeman wants. Memphis Depay hasn't come in yet. They've had to do a fire sale. The likes of Suarez is gone. I know Messi wanted to leave, but they kept him. So I think, I'll take that as you said, I'll take it with a pinch of salt. Hala Madrid said, AS is a Madrid newspaper. Don't believe Barca news. Well, yeah, that's it. Because what's the Barca paper? Is it Mundo?
I can't remember now.
Mundo or something like that. But yeah, AS
something like that.
Is a Madrid-based paper. So I saw that. I thought, if you said 100 million, even 80, 90, million euros, I might be a bit more reliable likely to believe it. But 50, 60 sounds very.
And I don't think United would pay that anyways. They wouldn't pay 80 million euros for it.
Oh,
anyway.
no way.
No. So there you go. That just calms the rumours down anyway. There.
Akil P says, I would say Cavani deal is more feasible than Jovic. Real Madrid is not a good team to negotiate with in such a short time. United will want an option to buy at the end, which will make the negotiations hard. It depends, because I do agree in general, Real Madrid might not be easy, but if Zidane doesn't want Jovic, then I don't think they'll be willing. They will mind putting an option to buy. The difference with that,
with such as Bale.
Bale. Exactly. Bale, you could take him if they wanted, if you wanted to. They're trying to get rid of him. The difference with someone like a Reguilon, where they see a future for him, or they see an increase in values, a benefit to Real Madrid, whether it's financially or playing wise, they're going to insist on putting an option to buy, a buyback clause or anything like that, or keeping out option to buy. I think that the Jovic one is more that the manager, as Hala Madrid said, doesn't really want him, doesn't rate him like that. So I think putting an option to there, if we were to go for him, makes sense. And to be honest, I don't mind. I'll take a loan deal, because we know Igalo's going to be leaving in January. His contract's up. Igalo is, as much as we love him, fan favorite and all that, he ain't really good enough for Man United. He's not cut out for Man United. He brings something different, yeah, but he ain't Man United quality. So I think having another option in the forward line on a loan, I think, is a risk-free move, and one that I would take. But of course, that's not gonna be the determining factor about whether we strengthen, whether we get top four, because we're talking about we need first choice, first team players, and he will be back up to Martial. I would suspect from beginning, if he was to join. In terms of outgoings, I mentioned Andres Pereira, of course, that's looks likely to happen, and Chris Smalling. The other one is Diogo Dalot. As a Man United fan, are you a bit disappointed that he might be leaving, or what's your take on that possible move to AC Milan?
Well, I think he hasn't exactly had the bestest of time, if we're being honest, because when you really, when you're getting chosen over Ashley Young, it's, I think that's going to hurt when you see how Young was playing at the time, and you're obviously there in the wings and you're not being given a chance. And I think the problem with Mourinho was, he brought him in and he made all the hype in the press conference say, I brought him in, I brought this player in, he's really young, fresh out of Portugal, most of the Portugal players, in the world have made their names for themselves. Ronaldo's obviously made a name for himself. Fernandes is there in the wings now. Play amazing players have come from there. Edison came from Benfica. Vertonghen, proven Premier League players have come from there, and it's not worked out for Delo at all. And I think it does come down to how you dealt with him, but under Ollie did give him the chances. You can't say that he didn't give him a fair shot, because he did. He played in all of the cup games. He gave him opportunities in the league when he felt Young had to play left back to cover for sure. So he gave him his fair share and fair chances, but he didn't give anything back. He didn't give anything. I'm not, from a fullback, you're not expecting him to score goals or create chances, but give a good account for yourself. Maybe put yourself up there with man of the match. Maybe every couple of weeks. I've not even known one time when you could have said that he's had an amazing game, because he hasn't. And even when you bring him off the bench, he doesn't impact the game really.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to stop you right there because there's some breaking news.
I've just had an email. Yeah,
from Sky Sports that Manchester United have submitted an official bid for Jadon Sancho, and the bid is £73 million plus £18 million of add-ons, 100 million euros in total, 80 plus 20, which has been rejected. That is what Sky Sports News are reporting. So it's 80 million, let's say, not necessarily upfront, but guaranteed 80 million plus 20 million in bonuses. So that will be add-ons. Of course, they'll be performance related and not a guaranteed amount, but that has been submitted officially. All the tossing and the tuggling all summer, the rumors and reports, that bid has now gone in, but Dortmund have rejected it. And the question is, what is the reason for the rejection? Is it because it's below the value? Is it because they're saying, he's past the deadline? It comes at the same time that Jadon Sancho, as I said earlier, Jadon Sancho did not travel with the squad to Munich. So is this a case that another bid might go in? Another bid might increase bid? Or are Dortmund really sticking to their guns, saying you missed the deadline, we are not selling the player? As far as we are aware, they have an agreement with Jadon Sancho that if a bid of 120 million euros, which is 108 million pounds, is made, then he will be allowed to leave. Jadon Sancho has not come out at no point and said he's going to stay this summer. Everyone else has. Michael Zorc, the president or the sporting director, Marco Royce came out today saying that he's going to stay, but Jadon Sancho has yet to confirm that he is staying at Borussia Dortmund. So this is going to rumble on. I don't think this is going to be one bid and finished. I think they've bidded at 80 million plus 20, and now we're going to see if Man United are going to go in again. It's been rejected, which means we've tested their resolve and they've pushed back. They're playing a hardball and they have their right to do that. They've done it with Dembele, they've done it with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and they're doing it.
And they all had first bid rejected. Arsenal bidded for Aubameyang straight away.
You never go in with the bid that they want, because
you want to test them. You want to try and lower the price.
You're trying to reduce the price as much as you possibly can. So it's no surprise that first bid was rejected. And I think Man United knew it would be rejected. That was the report last week. Man United is going to put in an official bid this week, and it's going to get rejected. But you put it in, the player now knows that Man United are serious. Man United are not sitting around. And we'll see now if Jadon Sancho is going to, was he actually ill today, or did he pull a sickie? When and you pull a sickie, maybe he's got an interview. You got an interview at another job and you think, you know what? I'm going to call in sick and I go to my interview. Maybe he's going to push forward that move. I'm not saying that he should start throwing his toys out his prime. I don't like that kind of behavior. But maybe a transfer request needs to be put in officially, which means that, yes, he will lose his financial incentive of a loyalty bonus, but if he wants to make that move, then that is maybe what he needs to do. What's your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah. Well, if you notice with, obviously, when people like Zorc have been speaking and everything, Marco Reus and everything, they've always used the same sentence: Sancho is staying. They've never spoken anything about if a bid came in, we would reject it. If this got offered, we'd negotiate. They've never spoken in detail about numbers, about anything to do with the deal. It's always been Sancho staying, Sancho staying. And people say, so that means, so you're sticking to your guns, you're just saying it how it is and he's going to stay. United will have put this bid in, and I know this from previous experience with other major deals. It happened at Chelsea and Bayer Leverkusen. Kai Havertz, they got Kai Havertz for lower than what Bayer Leverkusen wanted. Bayer Leverkusen wanted 100 million euros. They got him for nearer to 90 million euros. Yeah. And they tested Leverkusen. Leverkusen bit the hand off. This is big money. This is Manchester United putting this bid in is the record transfer fee. They will have to break their transfer record to sign Jadon Sancho this summer. Now, I've said it pretty much all summer. As soon as a bid goes in for a player, it gets serious because the intent from the club to buy is there. The player can see that now. So it's none of this. It's not this. What if United put a bid in? Maybe something could have happened. It's happened now. Now you can move on from this. United put this bid in to have a sarcastic dig, shall we say, at Dortmund to say, all right, well, we'll take this. Right, here's an offer. Get back to us. Dortmund have got back to them. And straight away, you didn't hear United had put the bid in and then in a couple of hours, Dortmund have rejected it. It's been put in and then it's gone straight away rejected. So this shows you behind the scenes, it's quick responses. Man United say something, Dortmund get back to them. That shows this is being revved up really quickly. It's like a motorbike going about 200 miles an hour down the motorway. It's revving up quickly behind the scenes. And when, like I said to you before earlier in the stream, when things are very quiet at a football club, it's not. And the reason why it's not is because if you can contain leaks in your football club, the better, because details can't get exploited. Yeah. Major details can't get exposed to the public. The bid has obviously gone in now. Now it's a case of what happens now. Yeah. I'll probably have a notification in a couple of minutes' time to say, right, well, this is happening, that's happening. But from my personal opinion, what I think will happen, I think it'll be a case of United will now assess. Right, so we've tested Dortmund. Dortmund have stuck to their guns. Now it's a case of, right, so we're going to put in another offer. We'll up it by, 5 million. We'll go to 95.3 million. Then you'll test that. If United went in there with a bid of 100 million, and if you convert that back to 120 million euros, Dortmund will not turn that down. That's the message I've had all summer. That you can't turn that much money down for a player. Like with what happened with Ousmane Dembele is the closest thing to this Jadon Sancho deal. That dragged on all summer. And in the end, the player said, yeah, I want to move, which isn't happening with Sancho. Now that this has gone in and he can see United are serious, Jadon Sancho will push for something to happen. He will have an involvement in this deal now, 100%. He has to speak because 50% of it is up to United. The other 50 is up to Jadon Sancho now. Sancho will speak about this. He's not going to come out on Instagram, live and say, right, I'm staying or anything. He's going to speak professionally. He's going to speak properly, whether that's in an interview or he's going to speak to a radio show, something like that. Something is going to happen regarding Jadon Sancho personally. And people, get people on shows and stuff who's close to Jadon Sancho and everything. The only person that knows what's going on in the whole thing is him. And now that this has happened, he has to make the decision now. It's not in Dortmund's hands. Dortmund don't hold the cards now. Dortmund don't. people saying Dortmund have got United over a barrel and they hold all the cards. they hold a couple of cards now. United hold a couple of cards. Jadon Sancho has the rest. And it's up to Jadon Sancho what happens now. So that's all I will say is this. Sancho makes the decision now. It's, I want to either stay at Dortmund or I make my move now.
Well, the thing is, we heard some news that it just came out just before I came on live, and it was saying that basically Jadon Sancho was willing to wait until next summer to join Manchester United. Now, obviously, people have spoken about that next summer other clubs coming to the market. I don't think it's as simple as that, because the fact is fans can still not go to the ground, and it's not going to happen until March 2021 at the very earliest. So come next summer, the only thing that might actually change, unless some of those big clubs sell players, whether that's Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann, whether that's Mbappe, Neymar, Mane, Salah, the only likelihood of other teams being added in, the only thing that's going to change next summer is the fact that now he has 2 years left on his contract as opposed to 3. If he also has a very good World Cup, European Championship, will his price now increase, which might drive other clubs further away. So I think it's very possible that Man United, if it was to go to next summer, might be the only one or possibly 2 with Real Madrid in the market for him.
There's something with that, though.
Say that again?
There's something with that, though. If there wasn't a bid, that
Sancho also wants to play in the Premier League. That's the key. He wants to come back to the Premier League to prove himself here, because of course he left Man City because he wasn't getting the options. Him moving to Real Madrid, whilst it'd be a brilliant career move for him, is not the one that's at the forefront of his mind. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
The thing with that, though, that you heard, I did get told about what obviously happened, where he'd be prepared to wait for the year. The situation with that, though, was if a bid didn't go in for him, he would be prepared to wait another year. If a bid went in for him and negotiations were taking place where it was serious, they're talking about the price. And notice how it's the bid now. It's coming to the bidding stage. So personal terms is done. We haven't even talked about anymore. That is done. That has been done for a while. Now we're getting to the bidding stage. Then you get from the bidding stage to right, it's all agreed. Then you get to the medical. Then you get to him signing. Now, that with what you've just said about where it was a case of he's prepared to wait another year, that was if a bid didn't go in for him. And Marco Reus said about that Sancho was going to stay and everything, but he never mentioned anything about a bid. And this is the big news. Obviously, when a bid goes in and it's a high-rated bid, United were prepared to spend £90 million if this was to be accepted. That shows intent. They're not, and with the offer, really, they're not that far away from getting there. They're only €20 million probably away from getting there.
18 million pounds.
Which is, if you're prepared to pay 90 million now, you've only got to pay another 20 million to go and get it. United are testing the waters here. There will be another bid for sure.
Because I'll be very surprised. I will be very surprised. And guys, the link is in the description below if anyone else wants to get involved. I'll be very, very surprised if Man United, we bid the 90 and then say, all right, we're done. We ain't got no more money. No, because if you're willing to bid, you always come in low. If you're willing to bid 90, you're willing to bid 100.
Yes.
So
then you're willing to bid the next biggest number and the next biggest number.
And I said this. Obviously, you're not going to go overboard up to 150, 200 million. That's extreme. But you always come in a bit low. So I'll be very surprised if Man United say, well, our budget is 95 million. We're only going to bid 90. If your budget is 95, you bid 75 because it gives you 20 million to then work with. But the fact that we've come in at 90 says to me that we've got another, 15 million in us, kind of thing. I think for me, and I said this for a couple months now, I don't think they can, I don't think the Glazers and Woodward can afford not to get Jadon Sancho. And I say that in the sense that he is Solskjaer's first choice.
I know where you're coming from, but
so forget about Van der Beek. Forget about Upamecano. Forget about Telles. Forget about all the other transfers that we heard of, that we want, that we like. Solskjaer's first choice was Jadon Sancho.
And this has been since he's come into the job as well.
First choice. What did you say?
This has been since Solskjaer joined. This was when the rumours started with Sancho.
Yeah.
So this has been like nearly 2 years.
Well, yes, it's going to be about over a year because when he got the job in March, then we started hearing that Jadon Sancho his target, and that's 18 months.
Yeah, and last summer his main target was Harry Maguire. Got him right at the end.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like a week beforehand, but obviously the deadline was brought before the European deadline. Now it's all together now with United. But like obviously, I think a lot of people, you're going to hear a lot of people jumping the gun about this with Sancho. People are going to be going over the board saying, "Oh, right, well, it's obviously happening now, and things are going in motion and everything." But don't jump the gun don't jump the bullet before it's been fired.
Yeah.
That's always a saying in a deal. Don't jump the bullet before it's been fired, because a bullet can be fired. United fired a bullet to go and get Reguilon.
Yeah.
But they jumped too soon. And they didn't hear from Real Madrid about, Tottenham are coming in. And Tottenham took him away from them. Nobody's going to take Jadon Sancho away from Manchester United. This is their player. This is their player. You're not hearing Barcelona are going to hijack it or anything. Nobody has the money. Chelsea did have the money. They went for Havertz. United have the money and they want Sancho. And like we've just said, if United are prepared to pay what when they've bidded this, just imagine if this bid would have been accepted. Well, you're forking out 90 million there. And then you're only, a couple of million away from making, the fee that the club want.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to what's happening with Tellez. United want to pay 12 million, Porto want 8. Meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Meet in the middle. I would expect United to meet in the middle at about 15 million.
Yeah, I think they will.
That's a fair compromise for a player that's going to be out of contract. It's something like what happened with Thiago. Yeah. Liverpool didn't want to pay 30 million. Their hand was forced then, because there was obviously the stir up of, United are starting to get involved and stuff, speaking to agents. This is different. Thiago was Liverpool's player all the way.
Yeah.
Jadon Sancho has been Manchester United's player all the way. All the way. Nobody. And don't expect...
I think this comment from Akil P is very, very important, because United worked really hard to get their PR image, mainly Ed Woodward more than Man United. But Neil Ashton exclusively for that. Walking away from the Sancho deal would undo everything they did. I agree.
And they wasted a whole summer.
Exactly. Man United and Ed Woodward would look like complete idiots if this deal doesn't happen. Even if we end up getting Jadon Sancho, nobody cares what was said before, who said what. As a matter of fact, the only people at this point that's going to look like an idiot if we sign Jadon Sancho is Dortmund and Michael Zorc, because he came out and said, it's done. The deadline is passed. He's staying. So right now, only Dortmund can lose. But I say lose. This is their model. They get players cheap. They develop them. They sell them for big. So everybody in reality is the winner, but everybody wants to look good in the market.
Yeah, it's going to happen in 3 or 4 years' time.
As long as we sign Jadon Sancho, we have done good business. That's the bottom line. And we look good, because at the same time, we've got Donny van der Beek for cheap, 35 million. We're going to get Alex Telles for cheap, 15 million. If we were to get a loan signing in a forward, then I think that would be good business. And then we get the main target. Then we get our main target in Jadon Sancho. So you've got cheap deals elsewhere. You've shipped off players like Alexis Sanchez, Smalling, Pereira, Dalot, hopefully all of them. And then you get your main target in Jadon Sancho. So come the end of the transfer window, if you get all the deals that you want done, ins and outs, then you look good. When you end up failing to get your main targets, like Mourinho spoke about, like LVG has spoken about in the past, like Moyes spoke about, and then end up getting second choice hand-me-downs, basically, that's when you look bad in the market more than anything. So I think if we are to get those deals done, then everybody wins. Dortmund get their money and we get the player.
Yeah. And like I just mentioned, sorry for butting in a bit there, interrupting me. When I said about with Haaland, this is going to happen with Haaland in a couple of years' time. Something like Real Madrid's going to come knocking. They won't want to pay over 100 million euros for him.
No.
And then it's going to drag on all summer. That's going to be the talk of the summer. This has been the main talk.
No, but we have to remember with the Haaland one. Remember, he's got a release clause.
Yeah. I understand that. But obviously, when a player signs a new contract, they can obviously just take that straight out.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Like they did with Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho had a buyback clause with Manchester City. City didn't want him, so they don't need to activate that. And then obviously in secrecy, he signed a new deal. That clause was taken out.
Yeah.
So it's only the same as that. It's like with Palace. So say if Zaha signed a new contract at Palace, the United clause where they have a percentage of a sell-on fee would then be taken out. That's only in the player's contract while they stay at that club for their first contract. If they re-sign, that's it. They don't get anything then. So United will not get anything.
Once the first contract's length is extended, once it's passed.
Yes. And it's like with Jadon Sancho. Dortmund will want to wrap this up in 2 or 3 days because time will run out for them. Then the pressure's suddenly on them because they need to go and buy a replacement.
Yeah.
Because they will need to replace Jadon Sancho. So then it's a case of they're in the position United was in. They won't want to pay the price that clubs want for players. Suddenly, now we know how Man United felt. And United have our player now. They cannot turn a fee down of over 120 million euros. It's not going to happen. They can't. No. If he's going to move, he's going to move.
Yeah. Finally, on this transfer section, and before I let you go, Tom, the comment here from Akil P says, "Is this Dembele rumor a smokescreen for putting pressure on Dortmund?" But there's been an update on that actually. So reported by FA por El Mundo says Ousmane Dembele's camp has confirmed the reports of him being close to join Man United. A deal would be closed for around 75 million euros, including bonuses. It says Man United contacted Barcelona and Dembele's camp after failing to sign Jadon Sancho. Barcelona said no initially, but ex-Summit news changed that. Ronald Koeman said yes. Ed Woodward is the one who contacted Barcelona and Dembele. They've been trying to convince Dembele for some time, as he wanted to stay at Barcelona. Now, Ronald Koeman says that, Dembele can go because he's got Ansu Fati, he's got Francisco Trincao and Pedri, and of course we know he wants to make signings. But you're right, it could be all a smokescreen. It could all be, we know that Sancho is his main target. And if you start making these mentions, Dortmund ain't going to care. Dortmund ain't going to budge, but Sancho might budge. Sancho might say, "Oh damn! If I don't make a move, if I don't make a push to leave, then they're gonna sign Dembele, they're gonna sign Sarr, they're gonna sign this person, and I'm not gonna get this move back to the Premier League because he doesn't want to rejoin Man City. And at the moment, there's no openings at any top Premier League club.
There isn't.
Chelsea stacked, Liverpool stacked.
Tottenham just signed Bale.
And it's a lot of money for Tottenham if they were to try. And I don't think they've got.
I don't think Levy would activate that one.
Well, I think it could be a smokescreen to put the pressure more on Sancho rather than Dortmund.
This always happens.
Dortmund's price is Dortmund's price.
Yeah, this always happens. Players cut. When teams go for main deals and everything, and then there's always a smokescreen. There's always a club's got in front of a player. Happened with Havertz. It was all. Oh well, the Kai Havertz deal is in the mud really, and Chelsea going after other targets. They're going after, I heard some paper said that they're going after Jack Grealish, and I thought, how can they go after Jack Grealish when he just signed a new contract? How stupid are you? Well, how can you report on something like that? Ousmane Dembele will not, and this is a thing. Never sign a player that doesn't want to join.
Yeah.
You never sign a player that doesn't want to join. Because they're joining against their own will, pretty much.
And that's what I'm saying. And then he won't, Solskjaer won't do that. Solskjaer won't sign a player whose heart isn't set on joining Man United. We pulled out of the Dybala deal last summer because of that. And he's not going to go back on that. And you've seen, when we've missed out on a player, we don't just go out and get any old someone to fill the spot. We just say, all right, you know what? We missed out on that player. We might get a loan, but we're not going to sign someone. We have to go out again, look deep into the market, assess the player, everything in terms of his character, his viability, his ability as a player, and whether he really wants to join, and then they go again. So yeah, I think the Dembele one is for me definitely a smokescreen. I definitely agree with you there. But Tom, I'm gonna leave you. I'm gonna leave it here with you. I was gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to my match preview with for Brighton versus Man United. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm interested in who's coming up for Man United.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And everybody, subscribe and like the video. Subscribe to Neeks Sports. Definitely give them your support and everything, and keep up the content, mate.
Thank you, thank you. But guys, yeah, I'm still here. No, we're not done yet. As you can see, bottom of the screen, Man United 4th round preview. Brighton Hove Albion versus Manchester United, and this is the team I will go with. I think the Brighton game was in the Premier League. That is, it was very, very difficult. We struggled in that game. We didn't play well, but we got the 3 points in the end. I think this is a game where we can build on some match fitness, a game that we can kind of just work our way back to playing how we were after lockdown a few months ago. And this is the team I would go with. Of course, Henderson being the cup keeper this season, I think he's guaranteed a spot. Eric Bailly, for me, comes back in because he played so well against Luton. I want him to start for Manchester United alongside Maguire as our first choice. And Solskjaer was bigging him up so much that I think we were all convinced he was going to start against Brighton in the Premier League. I think he'll get a start now. And I hope he performs well and he can start against Spurs, because I know Jose likes to play, counter-attack football, deep defensive line. But even without Son, he's going to have the pace of Bergwijn. He's going to have the pace of Moura on the counter-attack that I feel we could struggle with. And we saw when we played Spurs in July, first game back from lockdown, the way that Bergwijn burst past Maguire and Lindelof was nowhere there to cover. So I feel the pace of Bailly will do us wonders in this game. And it's a big game against Spurs because there's a bit of a war of words in the media between Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho. Of course, we know this history with Jose and Man United. But yeah, I would go with Wan-Bissaka because he looks dead out of form. Absolutely shot right now. He ended the season badly. He started this season badly. He needs to regain his feet, find his feet again. And the same goes for Paul Pogba. That's the reason why I would start him, because he needs to find his full fitness. His passes, his sharpness, his passes are just poor, and that's like short 5-yard pass, 6-yard pass. He's looking very, very sluggish at the moment. So I would make sure that he gets a few minutes. The result is not the most important thing for this game. Of course, we want to win. We want to go as deep into the competition as possible and hopefully win a trophy this season. We got to 3 semi-finals last year. We want to go 1 or 2 steps further this year. So I would start Pogba in this game alongside Fred. I've got Brandon Williams coming in for sure. I think that's a given for me. And I would start Van der Beek. Van der Beek looked good against Luton. I'm best player in that in the time he was on the field, attacking-wise at least. And he got the goal on his debut when he came off the bench against Palace. He only got a couple minutes against Brighton. I want to see him playing with a bit more quality. So if he starts with a Pogba, and as you can see, I've got Martial ahead of him, that link play, which is going to be important, linking up with a striker this season, his movement in the box, I think he can really add something to Martial, and Martial can add something to him. So I want to see him playing not just with the dross, respectfully, of Lingard, Mata, and Igalo, but with our quality players. I've got Lingard and I've got Daniel James. Daniel James one's unlikely because it looks like he may be getting moved on, actually. We know there was talks about Leeds and that kind of... Then it got killed a bit because Leeds were looking elsewhere. But then I'm hearing again that maybe he's actually going to join Leeds on loan. If he does go anywhere, then it's likely that Dan James won't be starting. We'll see between now and then if there's any more rumours. But playing on the left wing is his favoured position. So I want to see him get another chance out there. With Lingard, who played well against Luton, I would definitely start him again. It's unlikely that he's going to be moving this summer. I haven't really heard much talk other than some small rumours about a possible move to Spurs about a week or so ago, which is unlikely to happen. So he's going to be part of the squad, and I'll definitely play him over the likes of Juan Mata. So I'll give Greenwood a rest in this game, start Dan James, and of course Martial up front. It's been 3 games for us this season, 2 games for Martial. He hasn't looked sharp again, like a few of our players. He's yet to get on the score sheet. So if he can get on the score sheet now, get his confidence going, get his goal scoring boots on, and that can do us good in the next game, which is against Spurs, and hopefully going forward. So that's my team for the Brighton Manchester United game in the Carabao Cup. Hopefully we can get a win. Of course, I'm backing the boys to get a win, but more importantly, I think we just need to get back to our full fitness, match fitness, and playing much, much better as a team. Guys, thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, share this video, and I'll see you lot soon.